Right. Good morning, everybody. Let me sit up properly. I trust everybody can see the opening slide that's on the screen at the moment. I'm just going to move that slightly out of the way. Right. Right. I hope everybody's in and is fine. So we'll do a very quick bit of housekeeping. So for those of you that haven't muted your mics, we will mute everybody who is in the meeting now. We'll sort of kick off very shortly. We're expecting a couple more people, but we'll do some introductions and then that will get us going. The recording for this will be available on our YouTube channel and will be distributed to those that attend. And those that have not been able to make it, that video will be made available to you with a follow-up email. So my name is Steve Walker and I head up local government services here at Cloudy, and I'm been joined by David Hall, who is the managing director, and Mia and Gabriella from Decisions, and Tina as well. So I think we'll run through introductions. So David, I think you normally do this bit. Now I can see you've joined. Are you all set up and running now?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks ever so much for taking the reins. And to be honest, I could just leave you straight to it. Always do a wonderful job. But yeah, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And obviously working in partnership with our partners, Decisions, to deliver decisions to councils in England and Wales and Scotland now as well, actually. So a really exciting sort of product that we're seeing lots of advantage for councils using it. And obviously we've got a team here who are assisting to deliver that into councils as well. Steve, are you doing the slide deck or do you want me to do it? Oh, Steve's just gone off the call. Typical. Let me just take over the slide deck. 1 second, bear with us. Oh, he's back on again.
Yeah, sorry, Teams. It threw me out of the meeting. Sorry, David.
That's all right. No,
I'm back.
I was about to present mine, but yeah, that's fine. Cheers. Right.
There we go.
Cheers, Steve. Great. So obviously we've got Tina and John as well who've joined us. So John's on a training course today, but Tina's one of our trainers for Decisions as well, who is ex-clerk of Thetford Town Council and still keeps your fingers in the pie as well, don't you, Tina? You're still doing a bit of clerking as well. But she's joined the team to support the rollout of Decisions to council as well. So really exciting. Right, should we keep moving through the slides then, Steve, and we'll just go through what the plan is. So very quickly, Cloudy IT, just to give you a bit of context, we look after town and parish councils throughout the UK and also look after a number of principals now. We're delivering decisions to them. We have a range of services, all digital, based around the Microsoft 365 suite. One that we're launching right now, which is very exciting, is Gov Finance, which is built on the Business Central platform for managing your finances of a council. So if that's something you're interested in, please do get in touch. But obviously today we're talking about Decisions, and Decisions, as I've mentioned, is an exciting product for managing your meetings, making them more efficient. Today is going to be a real hands-on session where we're not going to be death by PowerPoint, so don't worry. It's all going to be about basically Steve walking through the key steps of using Decisions, how it works, and the time-saving aspects that it provides. Equally huge buzz around AI, and excitingly Decisions are right at the forefront of that, along with Microsoft and OpenAI. But the AI has been built into the very fabric of Decisions actually, which is really exciting. So helping you to build agendas, create minutes off transcripts, off recordings, and we'll maybe do a bit of a demonstration of that as well. And then we'll do some Q&A at the end as well. So that's really exciting. So some things to go through there as well, but we're going to keep it really hands-on as we go through it. So I mean, very briefly, in Decisions, in terms of what it can do, it's an app that sits on top of Microsoft 365. Cloudy, as we've mentioned, are the implementation partners for the UK, but because it sits on 365, it means in terms of due diligence, it's already inside your tenant. The data never leaves your tenant, and it allows you to create your agendas very swiftly, whether that's for formal council meetings such as committees, or for just departmental meetings or one-to-ones. You can create a meeting, build a structure for that meeting very swiftly, and then run that meeting with all the different people who are part of it. And in terms of preparing, you can attach supporting documentation, create a single PDF. It also utilizes an app as well that can be used on a tablet or mobile phone, and it's all linked to Microsoft 365. So people just sign in with their 365 credentials and they're straight in. And the app is certainly very useful for members who want to use a device to access their documentation, and it's got things like voting modules built into it as well. So it allows you to create, prepare for your meetings, and then also run your meeting as well. It's embedded into Microsoft Teams. So the advantage of that is it's a single pane of glass, and you can see your agenda inside your Teams meeting. It's also really nicely synced. So, if your members are joining remotely, they can use the Decisions app and open up Teams and have the meeting side by side with their whilst accessing their supporting documentation. And also, whilst you're running the meeting, when you take the minutes, you can use OneNote to take those minutes as well, which is really nice, and allows you to keep all that documentation, securely stored away, making sure it's accessible. And also you can share it with your colleagues as well. So OneNote is a fantastic app, and it utilizes Word as well. And then finally, it allows you to manage all your follow-ups as well. So tasks, actions, everything's managed within the 365 suite, mainly around Planner. So it allows you to utilize all the different apps, OneNote, Planner, Excel, Word, that come with your suite in 365. And for, I think, organizations who are looking to adopt 365 and really build it into their sort of fabric of their organization, it's a great tool to do that, because it can really fast track that. And that's what we're seeing here at Cloudy, that when councils move to Decisions, it helps with their adoption of generally 365 as well. And we have some additional supporting material around that. So we have things like an e-learning library, a portal that has lots of content on how to use Planner, OneNote, and Decisions as well. So that's a bit of an end-to-end of what Decisions does. And I suppose what we want to do really is go into the demonstration, but we've got some examples here about how it helps you to build an agenda, make it accessible as well, creating the sharing and meeting PDF for the attendees to look at and record as all your action points, and obviously the minutes as well. But I always think there's nothing better than just jumping straight into the demonstration, Steve, and showing it end to end. And if anyone does have any questions, please do put them in the chat. Or just raise your hand and ask them there. And then it's quite a small group, and I can see, I think you're all from the same council as well, so it's all quite personal here. So raise your hand, put it in the chat, and Steve can answer it then and then. But we do cover pretty much all the high level aspects as well, don't we, Steve? And we'll do some AI as well, which is really exciting there. So we've got an AI meeting recap, which we're always really, there's so many improvements month after month around this, which you'd obviously expect, but it's great to see that embedded in Decisions and allowing councils to take advantage of it as well. So there we go. So Steve, should we jump into the demonstration? There's quite a few slide decks here, isn't there, in terms of that? But
I was going to say, this is the only slide now for this, and then, as you say, we can do the demonstration whenever you're ready.
Yeah, of course. I suppose a real good tool, and this is what Cloudy adds, is the whole personalization to the sector. So we have various different tools that we've helped with: accessibility, web presence, which is the ability to push your agendas onto your website and have your minutes available as well as committee information, etc., and councillor information. So that's the web presence app that we've created as a bolt-on to the core solution of Decisions as well. So there we go. Right. Just waiting for it to go to the next slide.
That is now with me.
Cool. There we go, Steve.
Covered that. I was going to say, and that web presence was just mentioned. Bear with me. Probably want that one to just go straight into a demonstration.
Yeah, I think it's the demonstration now, Steve. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to presume that everybody can see that. I've just had a nod. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So Decisions, as David has mentioned that there are many ways to get into decisions, but it's quite nice to go in via Microsoft Teams. So if you're already using Microsoft 365 and you are familiar with Microsoft Teams, this is probably the easiest way to access decisions. So we've got a couple of meetings coming up. We've got a full town council one, and we've got an asset and management committee meeting. So we'll look at the full town council meeting today. This is no different to how any meeting would normally look within your calendar. So there's nothing different there. We pin, when we do the setup, decisions onto your sidebar. We click the D, and this will load up all of our upcoming meetings that we've got, and it will show us the status. So here in our example, we have a full town council meeting, and as we can see, there's no agenda at the moment, and I can see who has been invited to that meeting. I can start from scratch, so I can make one manually, I can use a template, or I can use AI to construct the agenda. So in our example, we will use a template. You can have as many of these standing item templates as you want. And as David mentioned, it doesn't just have to be council meetings. It can be one-to-one appraisals. It can be a team meeting. They're internal meetings you can run with it as well. So in this example, for our Cloudy Town Council, I'm going to use my March 2024 agenda. I have all of my standing items on here that I need. I shall apply that to a full town council meeting, and Johan will hold. We have our agenda ready. So in here now, I can begin to fill in any blanks. So I can edit this and put the date of the previous meeting. So we could say that was the 1st of March 2024. Let's say that. So again, the template doesn't get updated by this. The template remains the same, and you've only got to fill in these extra bits. We can work our way down, noting anywhere in the template where we have got some XXX, we can put all of our details in. What we're also then able to do at this stage is add any additional items. And there's a couple of ways of doing it. If I want to add one here, and I hope everybody can see that, if I come down to somewhere where we've got our greening campaign, I can put in here a plus, and it will add in an item at that. And I can put report from neighborhood police team on anti-sexual behavior. We can put that in there, and we can fill in see report attached as so, and save that, and that item's been added in to our agenda there. And we can keep doing this. We can keep adding in items just by hovering over the gaps between them. If we think to ourselves, a particular item won't be on this month's agenda, what we are then able to do is to bank that item. So we can say we can either move it to another meeting, or we can move it to the meeting planner. So what this will do is take that item off this month's agenda and bank it in Microsoft Planner, and we can use it again in the future. So a really good one is the restrictions on removing the members of the public and the press for excluded items. You could have that then banked away, and whenever you needed to put it onto an agenda, you could just put it in without having to retype it all again. So at this point, we're quite happy. We've got everything on our agenda. We want to put some reports on this now. So I've got some examples here that we can use, and we'll put on the Christmas budget. Let's add in, what else we got? We've got some draft minutes here as well. We'll put those on. We'll come down. CCTV comparison. There's a nice spreadsheet there. What else have we got in here? And there's our police report that we were talking about. And any document that works nicely with Microsoft Word, Excel, PDFs, Power. There's a lot of documents that it supports natively, so you can just drag and drop them on there, and it will reformat them as it needs it. So we're at the stage now where we're sort of meeting ready. So I'm going to publish this agenda to let those that have been invited to the meeting know that there is an agenda available. And it made a note, there's a guest attendee. Would I like to give them access? Yes, I would. So this is, again, one of the really great bits in Decisions. You're not more than one click away from doing something. There's no menus you have to dive into. There's no click, click, click all through a load of windows or boxes. Most things are a single click. So I want to notify everybody here by email and in Teams that there is a new agenda. And I'm going to update the agenda as well. And again, that single click has taken care of all of that for me. It's emailed everybody to tell them that a meeting is available, and it's sent it into the Teams channel as well, including the guest that's coming to the meeting. So now we're going to distribute those, the meeting book, the reports, the agenda pack. And again, that's really easy to do inside Decisions. It automatically names all the files very sensibly for you. So it will give you the date, the meeting name, and then it will put them into its own folder. These templates are customizable. Gabriella's worked very, very hard with me on producing a series of look and feel templates, which work ideally for the local government sector, and they contain everything that we need, and they are customizable. You can have your own signature and logo and so forth on them here. And this is how it's really, really easy to put things together in Decisions. We can see all of our items here and our attached paperwork. We will ask it to go next, and it will begin to fill in all of the blanks. It fills in the top header. We've got all of our documents listed, our circulation list on who's coming. It's now asking me to merge that supporting paperwork together in one go. And as we can see here, it's really, really quick. I gave a demonstration to a clerk who used a third-party tool in Word to merge documents together into a PDF. And this was several times quicker doing it in Decisions than it was with her third-party tool. She was pleasantly surprised by how well it's done. And there we can see we have all of our items all the way down here in our agenda. We can see we've got our agenda here nice and neatly at the top, which we can then download if we want to send to people separately, or we may want to print it off, or we may want to use it elsewhere. You might not be using our web presence plugin. You may have a separate person who's responsible for the website. You could just email them that PDF and they could put that up then on the website. So these are all the people that have been invited to the meeting. I tick on that and I click send, and they've got the agenda with all of the supporting documentation for this month's meeting. That is out with them now. Sadie, yes, you've got a question.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but just a quick question. So when you were talking about getting rid of the members of the public, and so say you have got some confidential papers here, and you're then going to publish it online, you're going to drag this up to have members of the public look at it. Is there a way of sort of restricting those papers? So, right, okay. Right.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways of doing it. So where you have a document here, you can, if you can see the hover over there, we've got, I shall choose this one. There's restrict access at the bottom. You can see that's appeared, so you can do that. The other way to do it is when you're merging the documents, there's a checkbox next to each document. So if you've got a couple of reports you don't want to publish, you can just untick them. It will build the rest of the PDF. It will include the other but it will leave them off. And then you are free. I've got, obviously no one wants to leak anything that's confidential or may contain information that they don't want out in the public domain at that time. Unticking them and then sending them separately adds that extra peace of mind that they were never on the original agendas when it was made. So I could actually show you, if I go back to the meeting book, we'll go and update that. This is probably the quickest way, and it gives you a good example of what to do. So we go back through the process of remaking that. And let's say this CCT for comparison we don't want on here, and the police report I don't want on there. When I click next, it will put the agenda together like normal. Everything will be included, but there will now be no references to those documents. When I go to merge that, it will now make that meeting book, but instead of there being 5 files, there's now only 3 files. And if we go into that particular document now, they aren't on here. So you could then distribute that safely, knowing that anything that was confidential has not been distributed with that agenda. And this again is available only internally. This view here is only available to people inside the council that have a license to access it, and that you've given permission to access it as well. So thank you, Steve. That's a really, really good question, and I hope that helps you with how to carry that out. So
Steve, shall I show what it looks like from a councillor's perspective, or a member's perspective on a device at this stage?
Yeah.
Do you want me to show what it would look like? Because now it's been sent to councillors or members, and I've got a sort of emulator running on my laptop. So this is running an app like on an iOS or an Android device. So this is how it looks here. So imagine it's on a tablet, or you can imagine it's on a mobile phone. A member can see their past meetings and also see their up and coming meetings as well here, the ability to search, to filter as well. So there's quite a lot of ways to sort of run through it here. If I go on to this meeting here, which is coming up, I can see here all the agenda items and also the meeting book or agenda pack, and I can go to annotate that, or I can just go into an item here and just flick through. Or imagine I was using my finger because it's a mobile phone. I can just flick through. So quite intuitive. If we had an actual sort of maybe a tablet, obviously you can see a bit more of the screen, which is nice, and have the ability to write your own personal notes. So if there's a councillor who wants to write sort of quite a comprehensive set of notes rather than just scribbles and stuff, they can do that. It brings it across from OneNote quite nicely. We've actually provided this Decisions app on iPads with the Logitech keyboard and stylus, and it works really well. The iPad's about £320, the keyboard and case £120. You pair it all together, it's a really good comprehensive package for a councillor to use, and lightweight, portable, and quite robust as well. And obviously there's the voting aspect as well. So you can flick through, and hopefully this agenda's got supporting paper. Yes, it has. There we go. And there's different ways to do it. You can put report packs where you put all of the documentation and a report pack, or you can put them on the individual agenda items, and I can click on an item here and just open it up and view it, which is quite nice. And the final thing to mention here as well is I can go up here and go to my own annotated copy. This is a private copy that no one else can see, and I can scribble some annotated notes here. So I can do this and highlight that. And so this is more sort of probably when you're inside the meeting, or just little notes as well. So quite intuitive, easy to use. I can undo that as well, and you can sort of change the different views here. So it's a nice app. Decisions are always updating it, actually, which is quite nice. There's always a new update coming out to make sure it's sort of optimally running. But I think that's about it really on the members app. It's quite lightweight, easy to use. It's not just for members, to be fair. It could be anyone. It could be maybe maybe senior directors and stuff might just want to see the agenda in that sort of view rather than through Microsoft Teams or through through the web view. And this app is really nice to use. Steve, over to you, unless there's any questions.
Right, so lovely. So what I'll do, I'll go back to sharing my screen. Bear with me 1 second. Let's have a look. Right, so I hope everybody can see that now, and that's back up on the screen. So from a minute taking perspective, there's several ways you can do it in Decisions. You can open a Microsoft Word template of minutes, and then you can put them into there, type them as you go. So again, if that's the way you work, or you can use Microsoft OneNote. One thing that's really, really good with the Decisions is your ability to sort of pre-write out a lot of the common minute lines and get them ready ahead of the meeting. So the moment you've published the agenda, you've made it live, you're able to add those in. So we'll go into OneNote so we can see this meeting here, and all your previous meetings are visible. If I just drag these two sections over, we can see all of the previous meetings, all of the committees are really nicely arranged. So what I've done here, I've put in some minute lines ready for today's meeting, and I've got a lot ready with a couple of smart words, which we'll go into very shortly. And what I'm able to do then is have these ready ahead of the meeting. And again, I can say what I've done in a couple of examples in here. You can have a canned meeting or a canned minutes section. So I call it canned, and it's not very exciting. And in there, I might paste my other minute lines so that I can go into those and copy and paste backwards and forwards. We all know a lot of, the opening and welcoming. Apologies for absence again. I think Tina and any other clerk will know there were none, or apologies were received from. You can do all of these in advance and then cross out the one that's not applicable on the meeting. The same with register of interest. If you've already had a councillor email you ahead of the meeting and say, I've got an interest in, or I don't know. Let's see, the IT one down the bottom there, item 98. I've sent that in. The clerk then can at this point, because these are private, these are not visible by anybody else yet until shared, could put that dispensation into this. They could put that register of interest into this ahead of the meeting, so it's already done. The clerk already knows that I may have registered an interest and I've asked for a dispensation. I could have all of that in here ready. The same with the public participation. We can sort of get ready for any actions that comes up from it. The chair may have already sent round a couple of notes that they do want minuted, so you could again load these into here. And again, the same with in my example here, unitary and MKCC councils. We could have received those updates already, and the members may not be attending from those respective authorities, so the council may just be noting those two reports that have been distributed earlier, and those lines could go into here ahead of that. So there is some benefits to decisions and speeding up a lot of the processes. And as we saw here, I put some action lines in. So decisions recognises a couple of words. It recognises action, tasks, and decision. So in here, in public participation, we could have a resident asked for the council to clear the brook. Let's say that. I'll clear the brook. And that was it. So I can take the rest of that out. I could make a note, part 2 investigate. There we go. Something like that. And we might even have a follow-up. Let's say 3/3/2024. We could do it like that. You could capture it in there. The same with the other items here. We've got some actions in here to contact Bucks Unitary about devolved services, clerk to action. We could do that, and there was nothing else. So again, as you're working your way through the meeting, you can put everything in here. But let's say we're going to do a decision on the youth provision. So we can say here, a decision, and it was resolved to spend, or let's say, I'll get that in English, £500 from GR on the new youth program. Councillor Bob, or something like that. We could capture that in here as a decision, and I'll show you later how that works. And again, you could work yourself all the way down here, and again to the final item, date next meeting, and we could put it was noted. Let's just for now, and I'll highlight these. I'm doing that purely so that it's possible. So when we come to put the minutes together, we can see which lines have been put in. So I've got everything in here. I've got to the end of the meeting. I was asked yesterday, are these saved on every device? They are saved in the cloud. So Decisions is a cloud-based product, just like Microsoft 365. So when you're working in here, if you started this at home, say on your home PC or your office PC, you've logged in and you've gone to the meeting with your laptop. If you open the link that is here in Decisions, it will open the same information so that you can access it anywhere. And as you can see, that's bumped up from 15 to 17 because I put some additional information into the meeting. So from this point, what we can do now, we've got a couple of other areas we could look at. With the actions we recorded in the minutes, as you saw, you are able to add actions from here as well. And this is, again, really, really good for those of you that are using, say, Microsoft Planner to track your activities from a meeting, or maybe you just want to distribute an Excel sheet with all of that information on it. It's possible to do it from here. So we could say for the events committee, I can choose to add a task, let's say fireworks night, and then we'll just say book Village Hall. We'll do that. I can assign that then to Councillor Lisa Brown. I can assign it to the Deputy Clerk. Both of them will receive an email from the system saying that that has been assigned to them. So again, very easy to manage within Decisions. You haven't had to go anywhere to do that. You could just do it from this main screen. So what we'll do now, we'll make that all important minute document. We've come to the end of the meeting, the chair's closed it, and we want to put our minute document together. So again, it's all one click. We're not having to search for a location to save it, or a file name that's the same as another one, or finding us a document to go into. It's brought up our minute template that we're going to be using, and then we'll go back into Decisions here in Word. And this is the only difference with AI. If you have a transcript of the meeting that you've recorded, or you've made some very verbose notes, it is possible for AI to pull all of that together. And I'll show you after this demonstration one that we did up at the SLCC Practitioners Conference. So for the demo today, we'll do a manual merge. This is what we've been doing previously. I've chosen to take my agenda item description and my notes. I'll leave tasks off for now. I'll show you how they work shortly. We'll do a merge, pulls in all of the information that we've got here, who was present, who took the minutes, others in the presence. So we could put here members of the public. So it's a standard Word document at this time. You're now free to edit away and put in any bits that you want to do. So as we can see, it's pulled in all of my minute lines that we had in OneNote and put them nicely in here. I've spaced it out so that it's very, very easy to see. But again, these templates that we produce, there's a variety of different styles. They are all accessible. They don't use tables, screen readers and other assistive technology, can read them quite happily. But what you will have noticed is that where it's pulled over these actions, where I've asked for something, and then we can see them on here, this number 3 has appeared. And if we press the sync, it's found that decision where we resolved to spend some money on the youth programme, and it's found a couple of tasks as well. A resident has asked the council to clear the brook, and we've got the other one. And we can save them from here, and I'll show you where they go very, very shortly. So for those present where you've got the chair of the council or the chair of the committee may want to review the document, you can do that in here, and then you can turn around and say, Councillor Mark Davis, please review the minutes, let me know if there's any problems. If they come back and say, actually, they're absolutely fine, we can build our unapproved PDF for distribution, and it automatically has picked everybody that attended and all of the information. And again, if I click and send that minute document has been distributed to everybody. I've not had to go and find individuals by name or by group or who attended. It's told me everybody who's attended, and you are able to at that point add in additional people. So again, if you're not using our Decisions web presence app and you have an external company, or maybe you have someone else internally who does the minutes onto the website, who may not necessarily be at the meeting, you can include them in that distribution list, and that will send it off to them as well. So we were saying about what did it do with those tasks, what did it do with those decisions that we made. So we can look at a list of all decisions that we've made. So we can see here, it was resolved to spend the money, and we can see which meeting that was at and there are minutes available for that. So that's really, really useful. If you want to keep track of just the decisions or resolutions that you've made, you can do that in one place. And that's available also in Excel, which again is really, really useful because a lot of people want to just look at this and have a list of them, and there we are, we can see. So you could have that saved, you could pin that into maybe your Democratic Services channel, maybe the clerk wants that to have there in there, so if anyone says, oh, what do we do with this meeting, you can go quickly and see that. Exactly the same with tasks. We can see here that tasks are all listed that we have for full council. For those of you that don't use Microsoft Planner, Decisions is a really good gateway to using it, and we can see all previous meetings are in here, so it's picked up everything from previous meetings, and we can scroll along and we can see the status of all of those. And again, this is one of those really, really useful features. You haven't had to do anything to get it in here. And what you're then able to do, and here's our meeting for today. We can see one is already overdue, but for fireworks night, it tells me those people that we assigned it to. We could add a label, so this might be a green event or a village hall event, or something that goes in the village newsletter. You can add in your tags. You can set if it's in progress or not. When it is due, you can put some notes in here and you can add some additional information. And again, Microsoft 365 being the very integrated app that it is, has offered me the chance to include other documents. So there's the task list and there are the meeting book for this. So you could attach in additional information into Microsoft Planner. And we could also, again, see that task list in Excel. And here, and there we go. I'll probably zoom that out at some point for somebody. So sorry, that's a bit too small. But again, it will load them all up in here. We can see fireworks night. So our new meeting, they are here. And then it's told us where they have been picked up from, what agenda item they were relative to, what we're going to be doing. There we can see fireworks night on this line as well. So again, really, really useful way of distributing this, and there are ways within the templates and decisions to include the task list on the minute document on a new page. And I'm just going to look at Gabriella, and you can include that, I believe, on the meeting book as well on a separate page. I think you can get tasks into that. So if you want, the council I'm on, we distribute the clerk's action list along with the agenda. It's possible to programmatically do that in decisions on a full council basis, a committee basis, or all tasks, depending on how you operate, can be added in on a separate sheet to those agendas. And of course, the minute document is a separate sheet, so you could have the minutes and the task status where you are. One of the other parts of decisions, it helps you sort of with that process. We started sort of at the beginning and we've worked our way across, and we now have the locked symbol appear up here, telling us that in this meeting, we've carried out everything that we needed to do. We've done our meeting, but we've published it, we've done our minutes, and we've distributed them. And you'll see that there are two little PDF icons here. So that's sort of in a very, very brief sort of run through decisions end to end. There are many other features that come with decisions. You're able to leave comments and notes for other members of the meeting. We had an example recently. A clerk with decisions had said that the chairman wasn't going to be available and wanted to leave some notes for the vice chair on a couple of items. You can just do it with the comment here, and then say you could pick who you wanted it to go to. Please note report. That is a private conversation. It uses Microsoft Teams. So if you've got a situation where the clerk might produce a unique version of the agenda for the chair, so the chair has some additional comments or information on it that the clerk has provided, it's then possible to use this. So as if I was chairing and I was working my way down the varying items, all the notes would appear here alongside them as I was coming down, which is again a really, really useful feature. Cuts down on having separate agendas, cuts down on having off maybe printed notes. And as David showed for members, you can annotate your own copy of the meeting book. So you may be speaking on one of these, maybe this youth provision, and you wanted to speak at that point. You could have some notes in your annotated version of the agenda to do that without having to print it off and write on it. Or, of course, you could come down to here and click comment, and David was logged in as Mark Davis, and say, speak to me before on the spend. And I can just put that note in there. So as we go through it, I will know that I've got to speak to Mark before we go ahead and spend. He may have some information on that topic. So are there sort of any questions on what we said? I know it's been very, very quick, and as we've worked our way through it, because what I'd like to do is sort of show some of the AI features that you find in decisions and how they work. If everybody's happy, I think there's no questions. I can't see anything. So,
well, Steve, we do have a couple of hands up actually. So,
obviously,
I was keen for you to show the AI stuff because it is quite clever. But absolutely, let's take the questions now. So, Sadie or Gordon, please do ask a question.
Sorry, yeah, mine was just a quick one. So you've just said that you can save a separate screen of the tasks or a separate page of the tasks. Following our executive meetings, we print all of the executive decisions as a separate document. So can you draw that out as well for each? Right. Okay. I thought so.
Yeah. So if I do here, so imagine this is Full Town Council, and these are all of the decisions that have been made by Full Town Council in the meeting. You could then print that document off, and that would contain all of those resolutions that you've made. One thing that is really, really quite exciting about decisions, it gives quite a circular view to operations. So if we look down here, let's pick something up. There we go, the RFO's report. If I click on the link in there, it will take me to the agenda item where that resolution was made. So that's one of the really, really useful things. We can see the decision here where it was done and it was a final decision, and we got to that from that list. So if you did have that list for each council, full council and committee, and someone was saying, oh, what were we doing on here? You are only a click away from going straight to that agenda item. You're not having to dig around for it. Again, the same with tasks. If I click on the task list and look in here and look in Excel, for argument's sake, of tasks that have been raised to the meeting, I can come down here. If I click on the task, again, it will take me to the exact agenda item where that's been raised, which is useful if you've been tagged in a task and you weren't at that meeting and you wanted to know, there was very scant notes on it, must do this week. What am I doing this week? I could go straight to that item, and there may be some information in here that is of use. So we could see here an update on the risk register. So I know what I'm doing, but I haven't had to go and ask anybody for that. I've been able to find that literally by a click. Exactly the same in Microsoft Planner. If we're in here and we open up this where a resident has asked us to clear the brook, I can click on the link within Planner, and that again takes me to the exact agenda item where that item was tagged in. So we have a task there which we can see straight away. So Decisions is really good at joining up all of that information, because again, if you've got hundreds of pages in reports spread out over several meetings and hundreds of tasks across 10 committees, keeping track of that sometimes can be quite difficult. So I hope, Sadie, that was okay for your question. Lovely. Gordon, I see you've got your hand up as well. How can I help?
Yeah, it's just, I've sort of noticed going through, you've been pitching this at primarily at parish and town councils. I was just wondering, Sadie and I are both from a top tier unitary. Is this suitable for a sort of slightly more complex authority like that?
Yes, there are some caveats to that. You're probably using a Civica platform at the moment, I imagine. Yeah, so there are some additional features that platform has that Decisions doesn't have, and they're small. I think there's is it executive decisions? There's a priority decision process that the Civica platform has. It doesn't as yet exist in Decisions, but feature set wise, they're fairly comparable to each other. We've spoken to a couple of principal authorities who use the Civica platform for their forward-facing operations and are reviewing decisions for their internal operations and using them to work hand in hand together. If you were a large, maybe a city council, again, this would be absolutely suitable for you if you weren't using the Civica platform. And we've had a couple of larger sort of towns migrate from the Civica platform to Decisions, because some of the features in the Civica platform they just weren't using. They and feature for feature they could find everything in Decisions, which is very competitively priced for a larger council.
Yeah, and if I might just add to that as well, Steve, the Decisions rollout, we've been working with Decisions for over 3 years now, working primarily in the town space with larger towns like Trowbridge, etc. But we've been moving into principal authorities now as well. We attended ADSO last year. We're at Solar in Scotland this week. In fact, we've just signed up Fife Council to use this. They've got an initial rollout of 250 users at the moment, which we're going through a process with them at the moment. And it's got some benefits. The price point is quite competitive. It's not using a separate cloud. It uses your 365 cloud. So, straight away there's less cost there. It's obviously leveraging the security that comes with 365, etc. So from a cost perspective, it is more affordable. And also, some features that Civic have spent decades fine-tuning clearly. But what we find with Decisions is it has use cases across the board, not just for your democratic services. It can be used for different teams, different meetings, and also because it leverages 365 as Microsoft make an improvement. Planner's getting a big bump this month, brand new interface, all that. You're going to benefit from that straight away. So yeah, it's an exciting period. We're getting more principal authority interest in this product, and we have a strategy to assist councils of a larger size to really understand the potential, and we could talk about that in a minute as well. Actually, I'm conscious we've got 10 minutes left, so is that okay, Gordon? Should we show the AI stuff and then we can loop back and answer any more questions, if that's okay?
One thing I will add to that, we work very closely with Decisions, so we do feed a lot of suggestions back for inclusion in their future roadmap. So if there were some sort of very useful items that were in other packages that people have seen or were using or were familiar with, we can absolutely feed them back to their product team, and they're very receptive to suggestions like that. So we mentioned AI earlier on. So here we have a meeting we did very quickly at the SLCC practitioners conference at the beginning of the year. Myself, a deputy clerk and a clerk, sat in a meeting. We did a very short agenda. It didn't last very long. We recorded that agenda, so we had a digital transcript of it. And what we asked Decisions then to do, so these are unedited, so these haven't received any, these haven't been altered in any way. We asked it to produce a recap of the meeting, and we've got clerks now using this meeting recap as almost a preface to the minutes for people that have either not attended the meeting because they couldn't go to the meeting, or they weren't part of the meeting and they'd said, oh, what did you discuss at the recent committee, planning meeting? They could send this recap out. There is no additional time needed to do this. It's all done programmatically by Decision, so you're not increasing your workload. This can be going on while you're getting the email ready to send, or you can use this to send the recap around. We were saying earlier on about everything's very single click. On here, there is nothing wrong with the information that is provided, and for the three of us that are in a meeting, this was very ad hoc, it was just around a table. That's exactly what we discussed and how we discussed it. Like I say, there's 6 minutes worth of a recording, and this is what we went over. And the next part to this, and I've highlighted it in yellow, is the minutes were captured for the agenda items by AI. So that bit I showed earlier on where we've got merge manually or use AI, this built these minutes. So again, if you've got a long recording, 2 hours, and you've got some minute notes, so you've got those separately, say in OneNote or in a Word document, you can use Decisions as AI to pull out the key takeaways from the meeting and any actions or decisions. So we can see in here, we've got some tasks, and I can click on those tasks and I can click on that decision. I think I'll be able to do it in here. There we go. And that will take me to that task. So these have all been added by AI for me. I haven't had to do any manual work to do this. So I could work my way through the minutes here, and I could think, right, okay, let's get that down onto one screen. There we go. And again, these bullet points are exactly what we discussed, and there was some emphasis on that being important, where we were discussing the turnout and the return. Again, it's captured all of those important bits from the conversation we were having and put them in the right locations into the minutes. So again, this is something that, inside decisions, it's done that itself. So again, it's a really good example, and it's improving all the time. AI learns, it gets better. And there have been some updates to it recently, which has improved the performance of that recap functionality. And as David said, I am conscious we're sort of running right to the end. Are there any sort of questions on the meeting recap or some of the AI features that are included in this?
I was just going to add, Steve, what it will do as well is for you generate the official minutes as well, the recap links to the minutes as well, which is quite nice. So it's just a nice one pager. This hasn't been closed, has it? This meeting, the minutes are created,
No, we have, yeah.
Yeah, but it will link to it to give that circular approach. But wonderful. Well, we've done a real short end-to-end high-level stuff. There's clearly lots of features that Decision has, but we're obviously really glad that so many have joined from the same council. So it's probably a great opportunity to have a chat and discuss maybe what you've heard of Decisions before and what you'd like to see as potentially some next steps if you think it's something you'd like to try at the council.
I think Sadie had I'm not sure. Sadie, did you have your hand up? Did I see then at all? Okay.
No, thank you. It's been really useful.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really useful. So thanks.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, glad. We do offer a sort of a 30-day trial where we can provide a sort of structured rollout where we just really create some use cases and really help you sort of understand the potential for Decisions. So there's no obligation trial, that is. So if you wanted us to put something together, we can run that for you. So if that's of interest, please do let us know. The pricing here is for town council, so this doesn't fit into the bracket, but this does give you an idea of numbers, I suppose. Large council here was 40 users, came in at £2,000 a year for the licensing, including AI credits. We've seen a big migration of large councils who use, Civica switch across to Decisions because, they've been finding that it's more integrated, there's more features, and, it's sort of a SaaS-based platform built within 365. But happy to, like I said, look at options moving forward, potentially of trials, etc. as well.
Can I just ask very quickly as well, if we did have obviously get the legacy Civica product and all the material that's been produced in Civica, does that sit separately, or is there some sort of import mechanism to bring it into the current system?
Yeah, good question. Steve, what have we done for the previous councils? We've moved on that.
Those that have pre-existing Civica packages, Civica offer an almost an archive function so that you no longer have direct access to the platform, but all of the web produced. I think that they split. You've got the app itself, and then you've got the hosting side. The hosting side then remains as an archive so that you can reference previous material. You could, if you had enough time, recreate everything in Decisions. You could make the meeting, upload the agenda, upload the minutes, and you could capture it that way if you so wanted to. And there's no direct way of taking from one platform for another, but you could most certainly replicate it if you wanted to.
Brilliant. Thank you. Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Mia, anything from Decisions you'd like to say at all?
Thank you, David. No, I was just thank you for the great engagement and questions. And I just wanted to mention that Decisions offers a free trial. That was what we did with Fife Council. They had a long pilot period of a little bit more than a month where they actually tested the product with their own demo teams and committee meetings, and they liked the product so much that they started implementing it this side of the year, actually. So that's an offer we could give to you as well. So just get in touch with us if you want us to support you in that process. We can get in touch with IT, go through the security analysis, and then just prove the app in part of your environment. And then you have the possibility to test it fully.
Yeah, that's really useful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We'll send out a copy of the recording, as Steve mentioned, after the call. And if you've got any questions, please do reach out. But otherwise, please do enjoy the rest of your days, and hopefully we'll catch up very soon. So cheers.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.